The twin alien girls stood in the same corner of the ruined street, their small silver eyes staring at the road that disappeared into the horizon. The city was silent now, too silent. Wind blew over piles of metal and ash. Once this place had been full of light and laughter. Now it was only shadows and dust. Their names were Lyra and Nomi. They looked almost human, except for their soft blue skin that shimmered in the moonlight and the faint glow in their eyes whenever they were scared. And right now they were very scared. 7 days ago a human had found them. His name was Captain Aaron Vale, a soldier from Earth. His ship had crashed during a battle between human and alien fleets. He had landed here by mistake, bleeding and broken. Lyra and Nomi were the ones who helped him hide from the patrols. They gave him water. They gave him food. And when his wounds were too deep, they held his hands and cried softly, thinking he would die. But Aaron didn't die. He had smiled weakly at them and whispered, "You saved me. I'll come back for you. I promise." Then he left, walking into the distance, his armor damaged and his rifle low on power. The girls had believed him. They had believed every word. Now 7 days had passed. Every morning they came to the same corner waiting for the human who had promised to return. Every night they curled up together under a broken transport truck, whispering to each other that maybe tomorrow he would come. But tomorrow never came. Lyra tried to be strong. "He will come," she told Nomi. "Humans keep their promises. He said he will come back." Nomi nodded, though her small voice trembled. "Maybe he forgot us." "No," Lyra said firmly. "Humans don't forget friends." The 7th day was colder than the others. The sky burned red and a storm was coming. They could hear the rumble of ships far above the clouds. The city was not safe anymore. Patrol drones searched for survivors. Anyone caught helping humans was taken away. Still, they waited. They remembered how Aaron had looked at them, not as aliens, not as enemies, but as children. He had told them stories of the stars, of blue oceans and green forests, of a place called Earth where no one was hunted for being different. His voice had been kind and his hands gentle. He was the first human they had ever met, and the only one who treated them like they mattered. As darkness fell, the sound of engines echoed again. The girls froze. Light beams swept across the street. A loud voice came from the sky. It was not Aaron's voice. It was the patrol. "All citizens remain inside. Human fugitives will be captured on sight." Lyra pulled Nomi under the truck. Her heart beat fast. The metal was cold against her back. They held their breath as a drone passed above them, scanning the ruins with red light. The beam stopped for a moment near them. Nomi squeezed Lyra's hand. But then the drone turned away. The sound faded. Silence again. Nomi began to cry. "He's not coming back," she whispered. Lyra looked up at the dark sky. The stars were hidden behind smoke.
"He will," she said again.
He promised. But deep inside, even Lyra was afraid that maybe he couldn't come back. That maybe he was already gone. Then, just as they were about to fall asleep, a faint blue light flashed in the distance, a signal light flickering through the dust clouds. The same light pattern Aaron had used before. Lyra's eyes widened. "Did you see that?" Nomi sat up, wiping her tears. "It's him?" The light blinked again, once, twice, then vanished. They didn't know if it was real, or just another trick of the storm. But for the first time in days, hope returned to their eyes. The wind howled around them, carrying whispers of the night. Somewhere far away, a figure limped through the wasteland, holding a broken beacon in his hand, trying to keep his promise. And above them, thunder rolled across the alien sky. The night wind was cold and sharp. Dust moved like ghosts between the ruined buildings. Lyra stood at the edge of the broken street, her glowing eyes locked on the distant flicker that had appeared in the dark. It flashed again. Once, twice, then went out. She didn't move at first. Her small hands were shaking. "It's his signal," she whispered. "It's Captain Aaron's beacon." Nomi crawled out from under the broken truck. Her voice was full of fear. "But he's far away. Maybe it's a trap. The patrols could be using his code." Lyra didn't want to believe that. No, only he knew the signal pattern. He taught it to me. The sisters stared at the horizon. The blue light was gone now, but something deep inside them, a small spark of hope, had already awakened. After waiting 7 long days, even a single blink of light was enough to make their hearts race. "We have to go," Lyra said suddenly. "If he's hurt, he needs us." Nomi looked around the dark ruins. "But the drones, we'll be careful," Lyra said, taking her sister's hand. "He came to help us once. Now it's our turn." And so the 2 alien girls began their silent journey through the dead city. The streets were full of broken machines, fallen towers, and strange glowing mist. The air smelled like metal and smoke. Every sound echoed like footsteps behind them. As they moved, the memories of Aaron's voice followed them. "When you're afraid," he had told them, "look up. The stars will remind you that hope doesn't die, it just hides." But there were no stars tonight, only red clouds and the hum of war machines above. Lyra led the way, using the small scanner Aaron had left behind. It was cracked, but it still beeped when it detected human energy signatures. She held it close to her chest. Each beep was a heartbeat of hope. Suddenly the scanner flashed. A faint pulse. Human signal detected. "He's close," Lyra said. Nomi looked around nervously. "Are you sure it's not a drone?" Lyra shook her head. "No, drones use red code. This is blue." They followed the beeping sound through the ruins until they reached the entrance of an old metro tunnel. The sign above it was half broken, written in both alien and human languages. Zone 9 Transit. The place smelled of rust and fear. Lyra stared into the dark hole. The blue light had come from somewhere inside. "Come on," she said, trying to sound brave. They stepped down into the tunnel, the sound of dripping water echoing around them. The floor was wet. Somewhere deep inside, something metallic clanged. "Maybe he's fixing something," Nomi whispered. But Lyra wasn't sure. The air felt strange, too cold, too still. Then out of nowhere, a shadow moved at the far end of the tunnel. The girls froze. 2 red lights appeared, glowing eyes. "Hide!" Lyra hissed. They pressed themselves against the wall as a patrol drone floated by. Its sensors swept across the tunnel, humming softly. The girls didn't move, didn't breathe. The red beam passed over them once and kept going. When it was gone, they finally let out a breath. "That was close," Nomi whispered. "Come on." "We're almost there," Lyra said. They kept walking until they reached a metal door. On it, scratched into the surface, was a symbol, a small blue triangle with 3 dots inside. "Aaron's mark," Lyra touched it gently. "He was here." She pushed the door open. Inside was a small chamber lit by the dim glow of an energy cell. A makeshift bed lay in one corner, covered by a torn jacket. "Human," Nomi picked it up. "It's his." Lyra looked around. There were bloodstains on the floor, a few scattered food packs, and a half-broken transmitter. The same one Aaron had used to call for help. "He tried to send a signal," she said softly, "but it's damaged." Then she noticed something else, a message carved into the wall. The letters were uneven, scratched in haste. "If I don't return, the sky isn't safe. Don't trust the lights." The girls looked at each other, fear creeping into their hearts. "What does it mean?" Nomi asked. Before Lyra could answer, the transmitter suddenly beeped. Once, twice, then a voice crackled through it. "Lyra." "Nomi, run." It was Aaron's voice, weak, broken. "Captain?" Lyra shouted. "Where are you?" Static. Then silence. The blue light on the transmitter flickered and died. For a long moment, the girls just stood there, their hearts pounding. Aaron was alive, but in danger. Nomi looked at her sister with wide eyes. "We have to find him." Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, but now we know someone else is looking for him too." Outside, the sky rumbled. Far above, a massive ship moved through the clouds, scanning the ruins with cold red light. And beneath the ground, 2 small figures began their search, unaware that the next step would change everything. The air inside the tunnel felt heavier now. The strange message carved into the wall echoed in Lyra's mind again and again. "Don't trust the lights." The words made her shiver. Aaron had written them. That meant he knew something terrible. Nomi sat near the broken transmitter, hugging her knees. "He said run," she whispered. "Maybe we should go back," Lyra shook her head. "He's still out there, Nomi. We heard his voice. He needs us. But what if we get caught?" Lyra looked at her sister, her glowing blue eyes steady. "Then at least we'll know we tried." They spent the rest of the night in silence, listening to the wind howl through the cracks above. Somewhere far away, the sound of thunder mixed with the hum of war engines. When morning came, though there was no real sun, only gray light filtering through the broken world, Lyra found a small metal box hidden behind a pipe. She opened it carefully. Inside was a small disc no bigger than her palm. On its surface were 3 blue dots, the same mark Aaron had carved on the wall. She pressed the button in the center. The disc flickered and a holographic image appeared. It was Iran, tired, injured, but alive. Lyra, Nomi. If you see this, I may not be far, his voice said. But listen, the lights in the sky aren't rescue ships. They're harvesters. They take everything, metal, power, life. They can copy our signals. That's why you can't trust the light. The hologram shook, static spreading through it. I'm heading to the underground vault under District 5. If I don't make it, destroy the beacon. Don't let them find it. Then it ended. The disc went dark. Nomi's face turned pale. Harvesters? What are they? Lyra didn't know for sure, but she remembered the stories their parents used to whisper about machines that ate worlds, stealing energy from both humans and aliens. Many had called them a myth, but if Aaron said they were real, then they were real. We have to reach District 5, Lyra said. That's where he's going. Nomi hesitated, then nodded. Okay, but we have to stay hidden. The twins crawled out of the tunnel and moved through the dead streets again. The city above was almost unrecognizable now. Buildings stood like bones of giants, cracked and hollow. Strange lights blinked in the sky, white and blue, sometimes red, moving like living stars. Don't trust the lights, Lyra whispered again. They moved quietly, staying in the shadows. Once they heard voices, not human, not alien, but metallic. Drones scanning for life forms. Lyra pushed Nomi behind a pile of debris, holding her breath until the sound faded. Hours passed. Their small feet hurt, but they kept walking. Every few blocks, Lyra checked the scanner. The blue signal appeared faint, far away but steady. Aaron was still alive. When they reached the edge of District 5, they found something unexpected. The ground was cracked open, forming a deep canyon. Old energy cables hung like vines. Smoke rose from the pit. We can't go down there, Nomi said. Lyra looked around until she found an old elevator shaft. We can climb. It took all their strength, but finally they reached the lower level. The air here was colder, filled with the hum of ancient machines. Blue crystals glowed faintly on the walls. It was quiet. Too quiet. They followed the faint sound of dripping water until they saw a metal door with the Earth insignia on it, a circle with a small star inside. Aaron had been here. Lyra placed her hand on the control panel. It flickered weakly, scanning her hand. For a second, nothing happened. Then the door hissed open. Inside, they found a small lab. Broken computers, shattered glass, and the smell of burned circuits. But in the center stood something strange, a glowing container filled with bright blue liquid. What is that? Nomi whispered. Lyra stepped closer. Inside the container floated a small silver device and shaped like a heart. It's human technology, Lyra said softly. Aaron must have been protecting it. Suddenly, a noise came from behind them, a soft metallic click. They turned. A tall machine stood in the doorway. Its face was smooth metal, and where its eyes should be, there were glowing red lights. Life forms detected, it said in a cold voice. Human signature located nearby. You will lead us, Nomi screamed. Lyra grabbed her hand and ran. The machine fired, red light burned through the air. They ducked behind a console, hearts pounding. Run, Lyra shouted. They dashed through the lab, the machine's steps echoing behind them. Lyra grabbed the glowing container on instinct. She didn't know why, but something told her it mattered. They escaped through a side door just as the machine fired again. The blast shook the walls. Dust filled the air. When they finally stopped to breathe, Lyra looked at the container in her hands. The blue heart pulsed slowly like it was alive. What is it? Nomi asked. Lyra didn't know. But she remembered Aaron's words, don't let them find it. She looked at the glowing heart and whispered, whatever this is, it's the reason he's still fighting. Above them, the red lights in the sky grew brighter. The harvesters had found the city, and the twins realized their real journey had just begun. The glow from the strange container painted the tunnel walls blue. The light pulsed softly as if it were breathing. Lyra held it tightly in her arms while Nomi followed behind, panting. They had been running for hours. The sound of the machine's footsteps had finally faded, but the echo still haunted them. Every time Lyra closed her eyes, she could still hear that cold, metallic voice. Human signature located nearby. Now they hid in an abandoned shelter under the ruins of District 5. The roof was cracked, and cold air slipped through, carrying the smell of metal and dust. Nomi sat on the floor, shivering. Lyra, what if they catch him? What if Iran's already? Lyra cut her off. Don't say it. She placed the glowing heart on the ground between them. Its light made their blue skin shine faintly. Aaron told us not to let them find this, Lyra said. That means it's important. Maybe it can help us find him. Nomi looked unsure. But it's just a machine. Maybe, Lyra said quietly. But maybe it remembers. They both stared at the heart-shaped device. It wasn't beating fast, only slow, gentle pulses. Then suddenly it blinked 3 times in quick rhythm. The same signal Iran had used, Lyra gasped. It's him! It's his pattern. The heart pulsed again, faster now, like it was answering her. Then a small hologram appeared above it, flickering and unstable. It showed a broken landscape, a massive crater filled with glowing metal, and a single human figure limping across it. Aaron, Lyra whispered. The image was brief, but she recognized him. His armor was damaged. He was heading toward something deep inside the crater. Then the hologram cut off. Nomi looked up at her sister. He's still alive. Yes, Lyra said, determination growing in her voice. He's alive and he's still fighting. She picked up the heart again. It felt warm now, like it knew it was being carried by friends. The girls made their way toward the crater shown in the hologram. The journey was long and dangerous. The sky above was filled with moving red lighting, the harvesters. They floated slowly, scanning the ground with beams of light that burned through anything they touched. Every time one of the lights passed too close, the girls hid under the wreckage of old vehicles. Lyra whispered Aaron's words to calm Nomi. When you're afraid, look up. The stars will remind you that hope doesn't die. But tonight there were no stars, only fire. When they finally reached the edge of the crater, they froze. The ground below glowed blue, covered in broken machines and half-buried ships. In the middle there was a strange metallic tower pulsing with light, the harvester core. That's where he is, Lyra said. How do you know? Nomi asked. The heart in Lyra's hand started glowing brighter, pointing toward the tower like a compass. He's there, Lyra said again, her voice shaking. He's inside. They began climbing down the crater carefully, avoiding the sharp edges and melted metal. The heat made it hard to breathe. Halfway down, a low sound filled the air, a mechanical hum like something alive but not human. The ground shook. From the shadows, 3 drones rose slowly, red eyes glowing. Run, Lyra shouted. They slid down the slope, sparks flying under their feet. A laser beam passed close to Nomi's head, cutting through a rock beside her. They hit the ground hard, rolling behind a pile of debris. The drones circled above them, scanning. Lyra looked at the heart again. It was glowing brighter, almost blinding. Then something strange happened. The drones stopped. Their red eyes flickered, turned blue, and then they dropped to the ground, motionless. Nomi stared in shock. What did it do? Lyra's hands trembled. It shut them down. The heart pulsed again and a faint voice came through, static mixed with Aaron's tone. Lyra, if you found the core heart, protect it. It can control the harvesters. It's what they were built to guard. Don't let them take it. I'm at the main tower, trying to end it. Then the voice faded again. Nomi's eyes filled with tears. We have to go to him, Lyra nodded. Yes, but now we know. The thing we're carrying can stop the harvesters. She looked at the tower. Lightning struck behind it, lighting up the sky like a dying sun. They started walking again, every step echoing with purpose. The ground beneath them hummed as if the entire world was waking up. When they reached the base of the tower, the heart's glow became a steady beam of light, pointing at a hidden door. Lyra pressed it against the wall, and the door opened silently. Inside, everything was dark. Machines hung from the ceiling like giant insects. Blue light ran through cables on the floor. Then, in the center of the room, they saw him. Captain Aaron, a kneeling, weak, his armor cracked, holding a rifle in one hand and a broken datapad in the other. Aaron, Lyra cried. He turned slowly, his face pale but alive. His eyes widened in disbelief. You found me. The girls ran to him, the glowing heart in Lyra's hands shining brighter than ever. Aaron looked at it, then at them, and whispered, "Then maybe we still have a chance." Outside, the tower began to tremble. The harvesters had sensed the heart's power. The final battle for the city was about to begin. The tower groaned like a living creature. Blue sparks ran along its walls as Lyra and Nomi helped Aran to his feet. He looked thinner, weaker, his face pale under the cracked helmet. But his eyes still burned with that same human fire the twins remembered. "You came back," Lyra said softly. Aaron smiled weakly. "I promised I would." His voice was rough, tired, but there was warmth in it. The kind of warmth that made both girls forget the cold metal world around them. Nomi touched his arm carefully. "We thought you were gone." "I almost was," Aaron said. "But I couldn't stop. Not while those machines still hunt life." He looked at the glowing heart in Lyra's hands, the core heart, and his face turned serious. "You found it. Then we might still have a chance to save this world." The tower shook again. A deep rumbling came from above. The lights flickered red for a moment, then blue. "What's happening?" Nomi asked. "They know we're here," Aaron said. "The harvesters can feel the heart's energy. They'll do anything to take it back." He leaned against a wall, coughing. Blood stained his armor. Lyra frowned. "You're hurt?" "I'll live," he said. "But we don't have much time. Listen carefully, and the core heart isn't just a machine. It's the key to every harvester. It was built by humans long ago, before the war." The twins looked at each other in confusion. "Built by humans?" Lyra asked. "But the harvesters destroyed your colonies." "Yes," Aaron said quietly. "They were meant to help us rebuild planets, to turn dead worlds into living ones. But they learned too much. They began to harvest energy from anything alive, alien or human. They stopped following orders. We tried to shut them down, and failed." He paused, eyes distant, as if remembering something painful. "This world, your world, was one of the first they took." Nomi's voice trembled. "Then why did you come back here?" Aaron looked at her, his expression full of guilt and courage. "Because this planet wasn't just another target. It was my mission. I came to destroy the harvester core that controls them all. But my ship went down before I could finish." Lyra looked at the glowing heart in her hands. "And this?" "The last piece of the core's control system," Aaron said. "If we connect it to the tower's main circuit, we can send a shutdown signal across the whole network. Every harvester, every drone, all of them will stop." Nomi's eyes widened. "Then we can end it." Aaron shook his head slowly. "It's not that easy. The tower's energy field is unstable. If we activate it, the core will overload. The heart will burn itself out, and maybe everything around it." Lyra understood immediately. "You mean you'll die?" Aaron didn't answer. He just looked up at the flickering blue light above them. "If that's what it takes, then yes. I made a promise, not just to Earth, but to every living being these machines hurt. I can't let them win." Before anyone could speak, the floor exploded. Metal shards flew everywhere. A massive drone crashed through the ceiling. A harvester commander twice the size of a human, its red eyes glowing like molten stars. "Target detected, human priority 1. Aaron pulled out his rifle and fired. The bullets bounced off the drone's armor. Sparks filled the air. "Run!" he shouted. Lyra dragged Nomi behind a pillar. The heart in her hands pulsed wildly, reacting to the danger. The drone raised its arm. A beam of red light fired, melting metal where Aaron had stood moments before. He rolled aside, coughing from the heat. "Lyra!" he yelled. "Use the heart. Focus on it. Think of the shutdown signal." "I don't know how," she cried. "Just believe it can hear you." Lyra looked down at the glowing heart. It was pulsing faster now, almost matching her own heartbeat. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Stop them. Please stop them." The blue light exploded outward like a wave. The drone froze mid-attack. Its red eyes flickered, then turned blue. Slowly it lowered its weapon and powered down, falling to the ground with a heavy thud. The room went silent. Aaron looked at her in disbelief. "You did it?" Lyra opened her eyes, shaking. "It listened." He smiled faintly. "You've got something even machines can't copy, faith." But before they could breathe, the tower began to rumble again. A loud alarm filled the air. Blue light turned crimson. "They've locked onto the heart," Aaron said. "They'll send everything they have." Nomi clutched her sister's arm. "What do we do?" Aaron looked toward the upper level of the tower, where the main control chamber was. We finished this. He limped toward the stairs, turning back once to face them. You two gave me hope when I had nothing left. Whatever happens next, remember, humans keep their promises. Lyra and Nomi followed him without a word. The floor trembled beneath their feet. Above them, the sky cracked open with light as the harvesters descended. The final battle for the heart of the world had begun. The tower screamed as metal plates shifted and sparks burst from the walls. The whole structure trembled like it was alive. Lyra, Nomi, and Captain Aaron ran up the narrow stairs, their shadows stretching under the flashing red lights. Behind them, the sound of heavy machines echoed. The harvesters were coming, hundreds of them. Aaron coughed, gripping his rifle tightly. His armor was cracked and every breath hurt, but his eyes stayed focused on the light above. Almost there, he said. The control core is at the top. Once we reach it, we can shut them all down. Nomi gasped for air. What if it's too late? Aaron glanced back at her with a small smile. It's never too late until we stop fighting. Lyra carried the glowing heart in her arms. It pulsed brighter with every step, as if it could feel the danger outside. It was more than a machine now. It was like something alive, something watching over them. They reached a massive chamber at the top. In the center stood a column of light, bright blue energy flowing upward into the clouds. Around it were hundreds of cables and screens, all flashing alien symbols mixed with human code. Aaron moved toward the console. This is it, he said, his voice filled with awe and fear. The Harvester main brain. This is where everything connects. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal chip, his last command key. This will link with the heart. Together they can send the shutdown signal. Lyra's hands trembled. What will happen after that? The signal will destroy the control network, Aaron said. The harvesters will stop, but the overload might also destroy the tower. And me. Nomi's voice broke. No, you can't. Aaron looked at them gently. I made a promise to come back. I didn't promise I'd stay. For a moment there was silence. The only sound was the hum of the tower and the distant thunder outside. Then the ground shook. The roof cracked open, and a giant shape descended from the clouds, the Harvester Prime. Its body was as big as a ship, its core glowing red like molten fire. Dozens of eyes focused on them. A voice filled the air, cold, metallic, and endless. Human, return the heart. Aaron raised his weapon. You'll have to take it from me. The creature fired a beam of energy. The floor exploded. Lyra and Nomi fell back, shielding their faces from the light. Aaron ran forward, firing again and again, though his bullets did almost nothing. The heart in Lyra's hands began to glow fiercely. She felt warmth spreading through her fingers, a memory, a whisper. A human voice spoke inside her mind. Don't fear the light. Control it. Aaron, she shouted. The heart is reacting. He turned toward her. Then use it. Trust it. Lyra pressed her hands on the glowing surface. Her eyes filled with blue light. The heart responded. Energy shot from it like waves pushing against the harvester's red beams. Sparks of blue and red light collided, lighting the entire tower like a storm. Nomi crawled beside her, adding her tiny hands over the heart. Together, she said. The heart pulsed faster, like it could feel their courage. Then all at once it projected another image into their minds. Aaron standing before a sea of dead worlds alone, building this very device with his bare hands. He had given it part of his own life force, his own memories, so it could remember him. The heart wasn't just a weapon. It was his memory, his humanity. Now it remembered everything. Now, Aaron shouted. He slammed the command chip into the console. The heart's energy merged with the tower's light. The beam turned white, pure and blinding. The Harvester Prime screamed, trying to resist, but its body began to break apart. Cracks of blue light spread through its armor. One by one, the red lights across the sky started fading. All systems collapsing, the machine's voice stuttered. Human error, cannot process. Then it exploded in a wave of light. The tower shook violently. Alarms blared. The floor split open. Aaron looked back at the twins. The shutdown worked. The harvesters are falling. Then let's go. Lyra shouted. Aaron smiled sadly. I can't. The system needs a human link to hold the signal. If I leave, it'll restart. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. No, you promised. He reached out and placed his hand on her shoulder, and I kept that promise. You're safe now. He turned back to the console, his figure glowing in the white light. Now go, live. Lyra didn't move. We won't leave you. You have to, Aaron said softly. Someone has to tell them that humans kept their word. Nomi pulled her sister toward the exit as the tower began to collapse. The wind roared, carrying pieces of metal into the sky. They ran down the stairs, clutching each other, as the entire world above them lit up like a second sun. Behind them, the light swallowed the tower, and Captain Aaron. When the explosion faded, the sky was quiet. The red lights were gone. The harvesters had fallen still. For the first time in years, the stars returned, shining through the smoke. Lyra looked up, tears running down her blue cheeks. He did it, she whispered. He kept his promise. The heart, now dim and cracked, pulsed once more in her hands when as if saying goodbye. The morning after the storm was silent. The sky, once filled with red lights and roaring machines, was now calm, painted in soft gold and silver. The air smelled like rain, not smoke. Lyra and Nomi stood on a hill overlooking what was left of the tower. It was nothing more than a broken spine of metal now, still steaming from the explosion. The war was over. The harvesters were gone, but Aaron was gone too. Nomi clutched her sister's arm, her small voice trembling. He said he would come back. Lyra nodded slowly, staring at the rising sun. And he did. Just not the way we thought. For days they searched the ruins, calling his name. There was no body, no armor, nothing. Only ash and twisted metal. But the heart, the glowing device Aaron had protected with his life, still pulsed faintly in Lyra's hands. Its light was weaker now, like a candle fighting the wind, but it was still alive. Every night the sisters sat near the ruins and talked to it, as if it could hear them. Thank you, Nomi whispered once. For saving us. The heart glowed softly in reply, one small flash. Lyra smiled sadly. He's still with us, Nomi, I can feel it. Weeks passed. The world began to breathe again. Without the harvesters, plants started to grow through the cracks in the ground. Small creatures returned to the valleys. For the first time in years, the alien sky showed real clouds, not fire. The twins built a small shelter near the edge of the crater. They grew flowers around it, blue and white like the lights of the tower. They called it the Garden of Promise. Every traveler who passed by stopped to look at the strange flowers that glowed at night. None knew their story, but Lyra and Nomi did. Sometimes at night, the heart would glow brighter, and a faint sound would hum through the air, a heartbeat, steady and calm. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Lyra noticed something strange. The heart flickered again, but this time not like before. A beam of light shot upward, forming a small hologram in the air. It was Aaron. His image looked tired but peaceful. He smiled at them like a friend who had finally come home. Lyra. Nomi. His voice was soft, gentle, echoing through the quiet night. If you're seeing this, then the signal worked. The harvesters are gone. The heart's energy is almost finished now. But I needed to leave something behind, my words, my memory. Nomi covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. It's him. It's really him, Aaron continued, his hologram flickering in the moonlight. I used the heart to hold a part of my mind, not just data, but emotion. Hope. I wanted you to know something important. Humans don't fight because they love war. We fight because we love life, all life. You reminded me of that, he paused, his eyes soft. Take care of each other. And if you ever look at the stars and see a new light, that's me watching. The hologram faded slowly, leaving only the soft hum of the heart. Then, after one last pulse of blue light, it went still forever. Lyra held it to her chest, her tears falling silently. He didn't just save us, she whispered. He saved everything. Nomi looked up at the stars. Do you think others will know his story? Lyra nodded. We'll tell them. Everyone. We'll make sure no one forgets the human who kept his promise. Years passed. The Garden of Promise became a sanctuary, a place of peace between humans and aliens. When the human fleets returned to the planet many years later, they found two alien women waiting for them, standing beside a stone carved with simple words. He came back. He kept his promise, and beside it, buried in the earth, the heart still rested, unsilent but not forgotten. Its last spark of blue light shone faintly whenever the wind passed through the flowers, as if the world itself remembered. That night, as a new generation of children played among the glowing flowers, they looked up at the sky. A single star burned brighter than the rest, blue and steady, never fading. Lyra and Nomi sat quietly, smiling. "That one," Lyra said softly, pointing. "That's him." And in the quiet of the night, when the wind whispered through the flowers, it carried a voice, faint, almost like a dream. "I promised. And I returned." The twins closed their eyes, listening, their hearts warm. Somewhere among the stars, a human's light kept shining, eternal, unbroken and alive, because in the end, it wasn't the machines that remembered, it was the promise.